So at the very least, we might expect to run into a few more of those. If not, something entirely different as well. We shall see. Well, as it turns out, we appear to be approaching the edge of the world here. We'll just check this corner, make sure there's not something hiding in the exact corner, but it doesn't look like it anymore. So in that case, we'll head down south toward where we're expecting this debris to show up. Though we are, of course, starting to see some nasty mountain-like formations here, which will make it much more difficult to navigate with the Mako. And we'll literally try to sidestep them a bit. Let's see what we run into. Okay, yeah, it's going to be first just this debris that we already knew about. But what exactly is it? And on occasion, we'll find that they are guarded by some kind of enemies. Is that going to be the case here, or are we just going to be able to stroll right up and not have to worry about that? Looks like that might be it here. Maybe some kind of crash probe. That's exactly what it is, in fact. At the moment, looks safe. So let's hop out. Let's see what this is all about. Ooh, this is a tough one. Okay, that's a lot of barriers. A lot of blocks we need to avoid, but I see an opening. Okay, so we got incendiary rounds, combat scanners. I mean, more weapon upgrades, yes, but we would like other things besides stabilizers and scanners. Things that more directly affect how much damage we're doing and whatnot. Tungsten rounds is certainly nice for the synthetic enemies, though. Alright, so that's that. We knew that that existed, but let's just mark basically this corner here, and then we'll continue our loop around and finish on this research facility in this anomaly here. And technically, we haven't done this southeasternmost corner, so we'll probably try to make a point of exploring that once we're done with the facility as well. But still, only one thing that we found thus far that is not directly, or not pre-existing, on our map. So that would suggest that there are probably still at least one, possibly two, or even three other things that we may yet be able to find, that we do not yet know about. But at least it would appear as though they are not in this corner of the map, because that is the edge. Let's start cutting inward, and we will start heading more toward the last research facility in this case. Might also still need to do a little bit of exploration around the middle of this map as well, because we have, of course, stuck to the perimeter. And in smaller areas, that usually is just about fine, assuming that you start out somewhere around the middle of the map, and that way you've more or less covered everything. But this does seem like perhaps this is a little bit on the larger side. I do think the maps vary a bit in size. I mean, certainly for, like, main quests, but even for side missions, I think they may vary a little bit. This is, I would have to imagine, the site of our last research base, given how we do see that red dot, which would suggest that we are going to find, yep, those guys. More turrets. They did notice us. Wait for those missiles to fly by. And then we'll... this maybe was not quite the same angle we were shooting from last time. So we could not quite get sight of them there. If we go on slightly higher ground, a little bit closer up, that'll make a difference. Excuse me? Where did you go? Alright, maybe we'll just, like, charge straight into them. What could possibly go wrong, right? Where are you? There you are. Hello. Let's back up. Let those go flying over our heads. Oh, that may have hit us, actually. My controller vibrated a bit. Although, no, I think it's just close. It didn't actually hit us, because, at least in the bottom left corner, it looks like we have not actually taken any damage. There we go. Who needs the big cannon to finish things off? Machine gun will do the trick. Okay, so for here, we do have that anomaly that's not far away, but I think we'll go to the research base first. Again, let's just take a little loop around. Make sure that we aren't missing anything over here. Entrance is on this side, and it looks like that's all there is to it. So let's hop out. And again, just to be safe, let's save before entering. Okay, So in the previous research facilities, we found a blue barrier in the middle with enemies inside it that only actually attacked us once we released them. And then we saw a fair number of Cerberus enemies around the perimeter of that. And it does look like this is going to be the same type of layout at the very least, so perhaps more of the same here, although we did find different types of enemies in that middle barrier area. So that may also continue to change a bit here. Let's see what we end up with. And yeah, not so surprising. Do see signs of enemies. Except this time, that should certainly be a familiar sight. That is the primary reason, as I was saying in the previous facility, why I wanted to make sure that we did no barrier before we did this mission, because that is certainly Arachni. But as of right now, at least it appears as though we are safe from it, as it is contained within that barrier. But I would imagine, given how we only see one Arachni in there, expect to run into still more of those Cerberus peoples. So let's make our move here. Well, we prefer this side or the other side? I mean, as of right now, it looks like perhaps there's only one enemy on this side, or at least on the edge here, whereas there appear to be two on the far side. Can we see them? We can sort of see one of them through the barrier there. He's just chilling. Can't really see who's over here, but... Okay, yeah, there's more behind the back, so either way, I think we're, of course, going to run into several enemies, but let's just mix it up a little bit, go to the right rather than left. Okay, so we've got Research Technician. So this is the biotic person. So let's... And this... Is that a sniper back there? I can't tell from here, unfortunately. Which, I mean, if they are a sniper, then that's a problem, because they have a clear line of sight on us, and they, of course, can hit us from that range. So, let's maybe throw you, and then it is a sniper. Yeah, so let's try to stasis you. Oh, they did not get stasis, did they? This is the person I was trying to stasis. So we got rid of the technician, yes, but the stasis just completely whiffed. So let's maybe lift the sniper before they actually snipe us. Okay, they're gone. Are we getting... Well, we are getting flanked. Okay, so we finished those other people just in time. Let's see. So we have a technician and another commando here. Technician, again, capable of doing some biotic abilities. And so, well, AI hacking obviously doesn't do much here for Tally. She's pretty much all out of her most useful abilities here. And for Ashley, we could throw on immunity just for good measure. The research technician does have shields here, though, so we can overload those. Who's that just got knocked down? I imagine that was a throw from the technician. Let's sabotage some weapons here. I don't like that you are right next to us. Do not do that. Thank you. Let's see. Who's that on the bottom left is Ashley. Has her shields rather damaged at the moment. After being right in the middle of all that, that's not terribly surprising, I suppose. Just go down already.
I will destroy you!
And, oh, yep, we are getting tag teamed here. And we do have stasis back. Let's do something about that. We're gonna lock you down. And technically, yeah, it's probably preferable to take out the other person. While this person is still stasis. They're not really doing much to us at the moment. So that's the benefit of continuing to upgrade stasis, is that we can lock them in place like that, and then while they are locked, just attack other people and ignore the one in stasis, and then hopefully, once we've gotten rid of everyone else, the person will still be in stasis, and then we have time to finish them off, which is more or less what happened there, but it will become easier and more reliable if we continue to increase the duration of stasis. So we know that's Arachni, and we know we're likely to unleash it as soon as we click on one of these diagnostic stations. So brace ourselves accordingly. They are, like the little Arachni workers that we saw previously, capable of dealing toxic damage, which is, again, why I was saying before, not that... Excuse me, it's in that blue barrier. You can't damage it right now. This is one of the reasons why Tally on this mission, not really the best idea, both because the toxic damage will hurt her pretty badly, and there are a lot of biotic enemies, not really much in the way of tech enemies or synthetic enemies outside of the turrets. So, for that reason, mostly just took her, because it's been a while. But, here goes nothing against the Arachni soldier. Let's disable it immediately with a stasis. And our enemy, or our friends, will not target it unless we deliberately and explicitly direct them to do so. So if we tell Tally to Carnage against it, I think that does still work. Then we're just going to continue to fire at it. Yeah, that did the trick.
We owe Kohoku that much. Clear.
Yeah, so, here's the thing. You see that name, don't you? That's Admiral Kohoku. He doesn't look so good. He's just sleeping. He's just sleeping, right, guys? He's totally fine. He'll just wake up in the morning, and we'll laugh this one off. We'll laugh this one off, right? Before we do interact with him, I just want to see, oh, can we nab some first aid that we don't actually need? Or perhaps we do? I don't know. Alright, I thought we'd be able to loot these things, maybe that we actually do need to interact with them first. So let's talk to Admiral Kohoku. Check for a pulse, but find none. Admiral Kohoku is dead. Despite the ferocity of the creatures he was sealed in with, there are no signs of trauma on his corpse. The needle marks on his arm suggest a different means of execution. Oof. That hurts.
It's Admiral Kohoku.
Yeah.
Cerberus must have tracked him down.
So remember, Admiral Kohoku was the one who originally gave us this mission. He made us aware of the crazy stuff that Cerberus was up to, and now we have seen just what it was they were trying to do. And as Ashley was just saying, well, Cerberus caught on, and they were not pleased that he leaked their secrets, and so they took care of him. They got rid of him. As for other things to do in here, I thought that we might be able to loot this other stuff, and I was thinking that maybe we did, in fact, need to check out what the Admiral Kohoku deal was first, but it doesn't appear as though we can. This looks like it's lootable, but it's not. So I think we're just heading out here, and unfortunately, is a tragic end, at least for Admiral Kohoku. But at the very least, we can say that we have completed the job that he set out to do himself and tasked us with doing, trying to shut down this Cerberus operation. Okay, so let's hop back in the Mako. And there's, at the very least, this anomaly over here that we're definitely going to want to check out. There are still a few, perhaps small sections of the map that we've not yet seen. We may want to check those out as well. Let's see what this is, because it looks pretty dramatic. Some kind of pyramid. I guess we'll climb the extremely steep stairs. This is what, like a, I don't know, 70-degree angle or something? There's something at the very top, and that's fitting. Protein pyramid. Recover. Alright. Well, let's find a nice opening, like this. Protein data distance. Recovered. There are a few children's toys and some ragged clothes stuffed inside the top of this monument, along with a protein data disk. Strange. Very strange. Alright, I mean, we also can choose to go down without using the ladder. If it's even technically a ladder at all. But let's take a look at our map here. Just to mark, I think we definitely have not yet been to the southeastern corner, so we'll want to check that out. We came in originally right here, more or less directly in the middle, so we may be fine there. May want to go a little bit north of where our marker is set right now as well, because I think we more or less went straight for the first research facility. Oh, look at this. Okay, we can already see the edge of another set of minerals. That's definitely something we'll want to check out soon. Just want to see, before we do that, if there's anything that is more purely in this corner. So we know those minerals are there. We'll make a point of checking those out soon. But, is there anything hiding down here is my current question. To which the answer, at least as things currently stand, appears to be no. So let's start headed northward. Check the perimeter for now, and then of course as we get closer to where those minerals are, we'll start to cut in. And that may be also... Okay, well, it's over here. I was going to say, you may want to try to make a point of doing that where the cliffside is not so steep. Talk about climbing up 70-degree pyramids. But these mountainous areas, not much more straightforward to climb, even if we do have an off-road vehicle in the Mako. And where is this? Right here? There we go. Just park right next to it really nicely. That's something like that. There we go. And then, of course, we end up coming out on the opposite side of the Mako. So much for that. This side. And I like this timing. There we go. Another mineral deposit. Let's hop in. And let's just take a quick look at our map here, because this may more or less be the last area that we think we need to cover. So it's hard to see, but we're directly on top of this deposit at the moment. So, I mean, we basically started here and went straight for that. So if we just go a slight bit further north, we might be able to check if there's anything in this little area. It might be our one line spot at the moment. Other than that, should have seen just about everything, I would think. Although that, of course, means trying to climb some way around this barrier here. This very steep mountain. Of course, we don't necessarily go directly in that direction. Just looking to head slightly further north here, confirm if we've missed anything. And that is the edge of the research facility there. So that would suggest that we are, in fact, done here. Don't think there are any other sections, as let's see. Started here, went there, went around, and yeah, I mean, like, maybe this tiny little area here. We hugged this crash probe closely and may not have seen that part of the middle, but then again, I mean, we were able to see this palladium deposit when we first spawned in, and we spawned in right there, so that would suggest that our field of view should have been large enough that we would have likely been able to see anything over there, so hopefully we have, in fact, found everything here. So let's head back up to the Normandy. Okay, and let's take a look at the mission that we just completed. So as Hades' dog, Cerberus has been conducting illegal genetic research in an effort to create an unstoppable army. We found Kohoku dead in one of their bases, and now you are the only one who can stop them. We found the location of the Cerberus facility. Oh. Hold on. Is this the bug? Because we have now gone into all those research facilities, and we have cleared them out in their entirety, and it is still saying that we need to destroy them. We found the location of the major Cerberus facility. Head to the... Oh, no, hold on. No, this is different. Head to the Neferon in the Columbia system of the Voyager cluster and destroy it. Okay. So, we have found... So those were just basically 3 research facilities, but here this is saying, no, we found the primary, the main Cerberus facility, which is different. It is different. It's on a different planet, in a different system. So that very well could end up being the next thing on our list here in that case, given how it is a continuation on what we just did. So I think we may go that route there. That would be the Columbia system Voyager cluster. Okay, good to know. Thought we may have also gotten some additional equipment at the end of the mission there, just may not have made a point of doing it after we, say, fought the last round of Cerberus peoples. But let's take a look at our map. And I think, as I was saying, probably looking to head over to, was it Amazon? No, it was Columbia. This should be it. Okay, so let's look around a little bit here. We have Logia, which does not really look like a planet we'd be landing on anytime soon. It kind of looks like it's blazing hot. Logia is a hothouse terrestrial world. Looks like it. With a dense atmosphere of nitrogen and sulfur dioxide. The surface is scorching hot and mainly composed of iron with deposits of gold. I if we could make it down there. Sounds like it could be rather fruitful for us, but not really sure that's something we want to do. The core of Clogia is very hot and tectonically active. Volcanic eruptions are common, and outgassing continues to add to the density of the atmosphere. The largest active volcano has a caldera nearly 100 kilometers in diameter, and its basalt floods have covered an area roughly the size of the Earth continent of Australia. Yeah, it is 312 degrees Celsius. That's the surface temperature. That's a little hot, a little toasty. Otherwise, yeah, you know, also 18 Earth atmospheres of atmospheric pressure means even if it wasn't scorching hot, that would be absolutely crushing atmosphere. So that's that one, and we just double check here. We could not survey it? No, we can't. Okay, so nothing additional for us to do there. Then we have an asteroid belt. Let's just take a look here and see if there's anything of interest in said asteroid belt, but at least at first glance, it appears as though the answer to that question is no. Yeah, double checked, and does appear to be no. Then we have Neferon, where we can land. Neferon is a barren, volcanic, terrestrial world with an atmosphere of carbon dioxide and krypton. Its surface is mainly composed of sodium with deposits of magnesium. Aside from displays of geology or geological beauty, including many spectacular volcanoes, hopefully they're not as spectacular as the planet we were just talking about, this barren world is of little interest. Entries related to Neferon in the astronomical database are sparse. I mean, it seems like it's got some things going for it. It's 37 degrees Celsius. That's not, I mean, that's hot, but it's not unbearable. It's potentially livable. Gravity similar to Earth. Atmospheric pressure similar to Earth. Somewhat similar to Earth. I mean, the atmosphere of carbon dioxide and krypton may be a little bit of a downside, sure. But, okay. We will definitely land there soon. That is, I believe, the planet that we were hearing the main base is supposedly on. But let's at least see what else is out here first and survey any other planets that we can survey and what have you, and then we'll land. So now we have Untitled. Untitled is an unusually large ice world with a core of silicate rock and light metals, and a trace atmosphere of krypton and xenon. Really like krypton atmospheres around here. Crust is mainly composed of water ice. Untitled's ice sheets show obvious signs of large-scale fracture and refreezing, centered on a massive crater near the South Pole. A recent extranet meme suggests that a Prothean ship crashed through the crust of the planet before the collapse of their empire and might still be recovered from the planetary core. This is purportedly the source of the planet's unusually high mass. Careful mapping of the Untitled's gravity field by orbiting satellites has proved that the planetary core is entirely normal. And that's an interesting one. So this game came out in what, 2007, I think, the original version, Mass Effect 1? People used the word meme back then? I don't know. Maybe I just wasn't with the times back then, but it feels like that's relatively early in the time in which the word meme was, I mean, did that word exist even before the internet took off? Maybe? I don't know. Like, did it actually get invented, you know, like 10 years ago? Or is it actually a word that's existed for centuries and it just took on a new meaning as soon as, you know, people started creating silly, repeatable jokes on the internet? I don't know. But either way, this planet is surveyable. So let's do that. We found a rare Earth element. While scanning this planet, you detected a deposit of samarium. Okay, sure. Then we have another asteroid belt, much larger out here. Let's likewise check for anything of interest in this set of rocks. I might have skipped over a little bit there. Hold on. But by the looks of things, the answer is no. So let's head over to Gromar. Gromar is a rocky terrestrial world with a trace atmosphere of krypton, again, and xenon. The frozen surface is mainly composed of copper with deposits of calcium. Maybe that's why it's green. Prior to the Alliance expansion into the Voyager cluster, Gromar hosted one half of a Turian interferometric telescope array, connected with several similar telescopes in the Attican Beta cluster by an expensive chain of FTL comm buoys. The two functioned as a single virtual lens with an effective aperture equal to the thousands of light years between them. The Turians use this to chart the terminus systems with great accuracy. That's interesting to hear that this is an area as a whole that the Human Alliance has already started to try to, I mean, these planets that we've been hearing about, maybe not the best for settling, but at least for developing ginormous telescopes. That's cool stuff. And just imagine how having the ability to travel at faster than light speeds suddenly allows you to do some really creative things to make your telescopes many orders of magnitude stronger than what we would have just based on Earth technology. This is also a surveyable planet, so let's do that. Medallion recovered. Scans of the planet Gromar revealed a derelict space station in late stages of orbital decay. A small team was able to recover some items of interest, among them a League of One medallion. Okay, awesome. Alright, so now, lastly, we have... what was it? It was Neferon was the planet that we can go on? Yes. So, let's do it. We're expecting to find the main Cerberus base here. Let's get started. Okay, so for this mission, who would we like to bring along? We just went with Ashley, and we went with Tally. And we were talking about, with Tally specifically, it was perhaps, a bit of a stretch finding a good use for her. Ashley certainly made more sense, at least in terms of having a tank, although having some crowd control would have been helpful. Now, this, of course, could be a bit different. It is not the same mission, so may not be exactly the same as the research facilities that we went in, but it is still the same organization that is running this type of base, so might expect to run into, say, more of the technicians and commandos and what have you, maybe less so in the case of the Rack 9, what have you, so that was one of the reasons why we didn't like Tally. Then again, or on the previous mission specifically, Tally's great, in a vacuum at least, or against synthetic enemies, but at least in this case, that's a weird sound, I'm thinking we probably do exclude her, and instead opt for perhaps more along the lines of our usual team. I'm thinking Rex, if we're inside a facility, then Garrus being our ranged expert, and Ashley also kind of sort of being our ranged expert, maybe not quite as helpful here. Might instead opt to go for someone like Liara or Caden for a little bit more crowd control. I mean, Rex does provide a little bit with his biotics, but for the most part with Rex we've been prioritizing his combat abilities. So let's try... don't remember as to who we've gone longer without using between Caden and Liara. We definitely use Liara on Novaria though, right? Have we used Caden since then? We may not have, so let's try Caden, I suppose. Alright, so we have landed, and right off the bat we can see that there are some minerals here. But let's take a look at our map and see, well, interestingly, we are not right in the middle. We are actually sort of in a, not quite the corner, but we're in the northeastern part of this planet here. And then we have an anomaly, but it's this underground facility that is presumably the place that we are focusing on getting to now. So that is probably the place where, I mean, we're not going to go straight for it. I mean, as per usual, I think we'll probably make a point of going around the perimeter of this planet and exploring what else we can explore, try to find other things that we can loot or fight, what have you. Because, yeah, there's not a lot on here at the moment, so I imagine there could be quite a bit that we have yet to discover. Did also see... oh, nope, not that. I mean, sure, we'll throw a marker there, but... from a squad standpoint, okay, so Caden and Rex both have 1 point here, which does suggest that we use them somewhat recently. We know that's certainly the case for Rex, well, with us having done Novaria with him. And Caden, I suppose we must have used him recently as well. Let's see, so for him, fully upgraded throw and lift. And I think for the most part, we were trying to make him do the things that we don't do, because we're both Sentinels. So... I mean, it's not to say it's a bad thing to have some duplicative abilities, just because when it comes to crowd control, the more of it you have, the more effective it is. But, I mean, just putting 1 point in Sentinel might not be a bad idea, because usually there's some pretty significant diminishing returns here. It gets much weaker the later you go on in the process. Oh, tell you the truth, not so much. I was going to say, maybe that means that just throwing one level in there is worthwhile. Otherwise, though... could start making you get closer to Master Overload. I imagine that's probably what we were going for, given how We 1 point beyond just advanced overload. My guess is that's what we're trying to approach. So let's go for that. And it does give you additional shields, which is not a bad thing. Then Rex, as for you, have you all the way up. Master Carnage, Master Immunity. So you've got the tankiness, you've got the combat abilities. Assault rifles, how do we feel about going all the way to Master Overload? Is that some, or Overkill, I should say? Overload's a different ability, let's... Yes, you're right. So this is more... I mean, it doesn't need to be close range per se, it's with a shotgun specifically, which tends to be more of a close range ability, but Carnage itself can be a little bit longer range than that. Whereas the assault rifles and Master Overkill perhaps lend itself a little bit more towards mid-range, but otherwise, I mean, we're looking at a little bit more damage reduction here. Again, I just find it hard to get excited about 1% damage reduction, or, 3% over the course of 3 skills here, and then make it up to Master Shield boost. I don't know if that's worth it. Were we going for more warp? Get to Master Warp? I mean, that might not be a terrible idea, or even focus more on throw. Barrier, stasis. Definitely don't want to go with stasis on Rex, because he does not have the ability that we have that allows you to damage stasis to enemies. They will still be completely immune to damage if he uses stasis. We can have more health regeneration here. I think you probably already have enough. That's not a huge problem. Yeah, so I think Rex is in a good place now. It's just a matter of what do we want to add to what he currently has. I suppose we'll go with assault rifles just because we ourselves are so weak when it comes to weapons that having Rex provide some of that is going to be helpful to us. So yeah, let's start moving now. And, I mean, do we want to head straight for this corner? Do we want to go for the minerals first? Maybe we do go for the minerals first, just because it's pretty close, right? It's pretty close. And we'll redirect a bit. I'm kind of hoping it isn't just at the top of this mountainy area. Oh, wow, this is actually... Yeah, we certainly did start fairly far north, because this is already the edge of the map we're starting to see on the northern edge. And I'm afraid it does appear as though these minerals are, it would seem, rather high up, unless they're in this little fissure down here. They may be. Oh no, right here. Okay. Seems like we made for a decent angle of approach there. It's thorium. Let's go here, maybe? There we are. Nice. Okay, so let's just go a little bit further in this direction to verify as whether there's anything hanging out in this corner. If not, then we'll double back. And to the extent possible, once you've already made the climb to higher elevations, it's definitely nice to stay up on those higher elevations so that you don't need to go through the trouble of re-climbing them. Of course, going up tends to be much more difficult than going down. So try to kind of stay up here. And it's, well, he says as he starts to fall down. It's not much. Let's go slightly further. But by the looks of things, this corner appears to be empty. Yeah, that it is. So, oh, no, don't fall down now, Mako. We were just about to turn. Hold on. Okay. You do it. Just whenever we go over a bump, gravity kicks in a little bit, so Mako no longer uses its gecko-like grip. Clings to the side of the mountain, and then we, gravity takes hold, bumps us down a bit, but... Okay. Here we are. Now we'll start doubling back a bit. And so we're on the northern edge. We'll start going westward. See if we can find anything there. And I believe the quest-related location was more so in the southern part of this planet. So we'll end up getting there, yes. But as is usually the case, tend to prefer to finish, or keep close to finishing, when we target the quest-related thing. Because that way, that's usually the most significant thing that we're looking to do on a given planet. And so, feels good to be able to, as soon as we do finish whatever quest it is we're looking to do. No, don't fall down now. As soon as we do finish those, it is often, I find, nice to be able to say, okay, we're done here, and then just immediately beam ourselves back up to the Normandy. That way we're finishing on a bang. Okay. So, once again, let's try to gain elevation where feasible. Because at times it can be rather difficult to do that. So I know we're heading closer to the edge of the map than we need to go right now, but also, we're king of the world. So, is there anything over here? Of course, whenever the terrain is this uneven, this rocky, does tend to slow you down a bit. So that's another benefit to finding flatter terrain, and or just once you do get that elevation, trying to sort of ride along the top of the mountains rather than dipping up and down all the time, because then you just have more ground to cover. Like this is not going to help us. So a planet that may technically not be that big can feel a lot bigger if you spend, if you double the distance you have to cover because you're climbing at a, you know, significant angle, not just covering ground in the, in two-dimensional space. Come on, Mako. Come on, Mako. You can do it. You can do it. Who's a good Mako? Who's a good Mako? Okay. And we got another huge pit here. This one looks pretty unavoidable, and this is actually the edge of the map. So let's, I would say now would be a good time to reassess our situation. But if we stop to smell the roses, they're probably going to fall. So let's just kind of ride the edge of this area here. Is that? We need to go this way, don't we, though? Yeah, and like this is not the situation we really want to find ourselves in, having to go straight up that. So we may need to deviate a bit from our current path. Find a way to, yeah, more easily get up and over. Or just up. And take it from there. And so far it's been fairly empty. We, found one mineral deposit, and that's about it. So that would definitely lead me to believe that we should find ourselves running into a fair bit more at some point in our exploration here. Again, just trying to make the navigation a little bit easier on us. If you are on these mountain-like areas and you're not on the top, make sure that you're trying to... Oh, I don't think we were that close to the edge. Joker, of course, getting mad at us here. If you are on the edge of a mountainous area like that, then it is oftentimes good to sort of, rather than try to climb straight up it, drive on a bit of an angle, because for some reason, the Mako gains gravity-defying abilities when you do that. Perhaps been a little closer to the edge than we would like to be here, just because obviously there's not going to be anything beyond the edge of the map. Whereas, could potentially be missing things more on the interior. Like now we're starting to see an X. Just look at what that is. Oh. Okay. That is not appearing on our map here. Usually the X's, that tends to be the indicator for when you've finished a quest of some variety. Some kind of marker there. So that's suspicious. Very suspicious. So I remember this place. Something that I've said before, and I will repeat now. Whenever you find yourself in an area that is quite hilly, quite mountainous, and as we've been talking about for a while, that was certainly the case here, and then you suddenly find a large, flat area. Be suspicious. Be very suspicious. So, let's maybe save. That's all I'm saying. Maybe, possibly. Why, you ask? You'll see.